What's going on, guys? This is Chris back with another video. About 5 or 6 months ago I received these beautiful rods in the mail, did an unboxing and first impression. Make sure you check the link in the description box below if you're interested in that. But that's not why I'm here today. I'm here to tell you would I recommend these rods and do I like them? Let's find out. Alright, so let's start off with the appearance of the rod, because that's the first thing we all notice, of course. When you're shopping online, you're probably looking, this is going to be the rod that stands out on a web page. If you're scrolling through brand new rods, this is going to be the one that catches your eye. When you first take it out of the box, I do want to say you notice that the blank color is a little bit different than what you might see online or from a distance. It's more of a gray slash charcoal, not necessarily black. I thought it was black. And then you get the darker gray accents on the handle, and then of course the teal. I think it's a really good color combination. It looks sharp. Overall, I'd probably rate it like a 8 to 9 out of 10, just because it catches the eye. And you're gonna get questions about this rod when you're out in public. If nobody's seen the Toadfish brand, they like to do it a little bit different. They're gonna ask you what type of rod this is because it looks alien-like compared to other spinning rods. Alright, enough about the appearance. You can rate it yourself. Let's talk about the functionality and is the Toadfish actually worth you purchasing. So first things first is the blank, super sensitive. It's a nice blank. I've had no problems. You know, it hasn't cracked, it hasn't failed. Here I got a 7 feet 2 inches medium fast, extra fast action rod. I got this rod in particular for kayak fishing just because I wanted something with a shorter butt, and that is something that I notice about the Toadfish is from where you're holding it and where the reel seat is, it is a nice shorter butt. You have a nice grip there at the bottom so you can get extra long casts. I have enjoyed this grip. Whenever it gets wet, you know, your hands isn't slipping. It works very, very well. Now as far as the handle goes, it's an ergonomic handle made out of 100% recyclable plastics. I think that's one of the coolest things about this rod. It is on the heavier end, so when you're using artificials throughout the day, it does tend to wear on you, but nonetheless, it is a nice grip and handle. It does take some time to get used to, and I have had multiple friends and family that when they pick it up and they use it for the first time, after about 5 minutes, they come to the consensus that they don't like it. But I think as you go on and you get used to it, you come to find that it's nice. It's not going to fade or crack over time like your EVA foam or your cork. So it's gonna be with you through the long haul. You shouldn't have any problems, and I haven't had any problems myself. I do love how Toadfish added the rubber inserts too on the grip next to the reel seat, so you can get some extra grip there as well. Same thing up here. Whenever it gets wet, it's not slippery at all, and I think they added the rubber grip just because of the plastic. Whenever the plastic gets wet, you know, that would be slippery if it was all the plastic. So moving on to the tip of the rod, that's where I think this rod kind of sets itself apart. I have really enjoyed this extra fast. It is an extra fast tip, so I do expect it to be phenomenal as far as, you know, feeling my baits and feeling the bites that I get. But check that out, guys. I mean, I'm holding the rod way up here, but it's an extra fast tip, very lightweight, very sensitive. So I'm just pleased. I'm overall pleased with the tip, and every time I'm out on the water, it's one thing that I continuously talk about is I'm like, man, it's extremely sensitive, but it also has that backbone that I was talking about earlier that really helps you power that fish and use the rod instead of your reel. Alright, so let's talk about the guides a little bit. Guides are very important when you're purchasing a rod. I think it's one of, you know, next to the blank itself and the reputable brand, the guides is what's going to make or break it, because you could have a great blank but have some crappy guides and it could really ruin the experience for that rod. These are Kigan Guides. Never used them before, only on the Toadfish. Now I do know a lot of brands are switching over to these guides, and I kind of have a love-hate relationship with them. When I first received the rod, you notice that the guides are really bent in the direction that you're casting, and it allows for extra long cast. I mean, the braid really spools through those guides extremely fast. How they have them designed here is you have the two bigger ones, and then you almost go straight into micro guides all the way to the tip. And whenever you're casting, your braid slings off the rod. Very pleased with that. Now, as far as durability of these guides, I'm not so sure. Reason being is I've already semi-removed my guide from the glue right there. Now, that is partially because I transport my rods in and out of my vehicle all the time, and there is human error in that, but it did bend substantially. I mean, if you look at that right there, you can see it's almost even when it's supposed to be bent more that way. And I think a reason to this is because these Kigan Guides are extremely stiff. I mean, if you try and move that, it doesn't budge at all, like barely. So I think if you get any movement in that, you're gonna get cracking in the glue. Now, that's not a make or break it, just means you gotta be a little more careful with these Toadfish rods. I prefer guides that have an extra flex to them, that give you a little bit of wiggle room with human error. And these Kigan Guides don't do that, but that's okay, because if you take care of your rods and your gear, I promise you, you're gonna be extremely happy with the casting distance that you get out of the Toadfish. All right, so I have come to a consensus that I would definitely purchase the Toadfish rods again. I've been very, very happy. Caught all the different species that I wanted to: redfish, trout, snook, bass, you know it. You've seen the videos, and if you haven't seen the videos with these Toadfish rods in them, make sure you check them out. Links are in the description. Go check out my channel. This is not a paid promotion by any means. I just have enjoyed the rod. I mean, it retails for about $100 to $130. I think that's very fair, especially for the things that Toadfish does just a little bit different. I imagine that this recycled piece and this bottom piece, they are, you know, expensive to mass produce, especially, you know, on a rod like this. You don't see other rod companies doing it, and the reason being is probably because it costs more to do so. So I think that $100 to $130, very, very fair. You're gonna get your money's worth, and I think you're gonna be happy, and that's why I do recommend you get one of these Toadfish rods. Before you go, I wanna talk a little bit about why you might wanna purchase one of these Toadfish rods, other than it's a nice fishing rod and it's gonna get the job done. So the cool thing about Toadfish is when you purchase one of these rods, you're giving back to our environment, and as a fisherman or outdoorsman, I expect that you should want to do so. And every time you purchase one of these rods, they're donating, I believe it's like 10 square feet of oyster beds into our local waterways, which is an awesome, awesome thing. If you don't know anything about oysters, they filtrate our water. They make our waters a lot cleaner. Very important to the ecosystem that we like to fish and destroy as human beings. Another thing is this recycled handle. It's really cool. I know every single time you're out on the water, out on the bay, I don't care if you're in Florida, Georgia, wherever you live, you see trash in your waters, freshwater or saltwater. This is made out of recycled plastic. That means they're removing plastics out of our oceans and our lakes, and I think that's very important as well. So overall, I support that. I support clean water and conservation. So supporting the Toadfish brand is something that I'm gonna continue to do, and I think you should too. Hey, if you found some value in this video and it made you choose between Toadfish or another brand, make sure you smash that thumbs up button and subscribe to the page if you haven't already. You made it this far in the video, so why not subscribe? And leave a comment down below. Do you have a Toadfish rod already? Or are you looking at one? Or are you gonna get one? I wanna know. Hey guys, I hope you guys have a blessed day, and go fishing. Peace.